Welcome, everybody, back to the Rook. In today's episode, I was inspired by my children and my career to talk about detachment. And it's because of this cookbook right here. And this sounds really cringy, but it's going to get dark and just negative in a minute. But this isn't like the Hallmark Channel, but the French Laundry cookbook was the hugest inspiration for me during my early career. It was lined up for me to work at that restaurant. A family friend lived next door to Thomas Keller, all of this other stuff. And all of these things were lining up and my career's going good. And I got to stage at some places owned by him, right? And in Utenville, Napa Valley, all that stuff. And I remember at that time, I was in spiritual purgatory. I was in hustle culture and I was focused on my career. And I think that can be healthy as long as you're not. I was searching for something. I was searching to feel like I'm good enough. If I just exhaust myself and injure my body and just crack my mental pressure into a million pieces, I'll make it. And it's not the mindset to have. So anyways, coming from, struggling. I grew up working class. I ended up in the hood in early adult life like everybody I knew that lived in gang territory. And I got out. It was hard. It was unbearably hard, especially when you have children. And I'm not going into depth about that because I want to stay on topic and get better at this. But my 4-year-old was looking through this book the other day in the garage. And I was like, oh, this is Mama's cookbook. I don't know why I brought it, right? And it's got a lot of really good information for techniques, so I'm sure that's the reason, because there's stuff from that I'm like, okay, I like applying some of those skills. The point of this video isn't about my career, isn't about low-key anything. There's nothing amazing to report about my career. I worked very hard, and when I got to that level of that world, because I'm a very disciplined person in those areas, in the things that I like, I thought, fuck it, I'm going to work for free. And I did. I staged because I couldn't afford to move to Napa Valley. I lived in Sacramento, California, which was only a few hours away, 2 hours at that point. That's not the gang territory I'm talking about, by the way. But in my adult life, I lived in Sacramento, California for 10 years. And commuting, you get to go to San Francisco and work, to Napa Valley. There's a lot of convenience to where I was at. But I wanted to break out of all of it. I wanted to fucking be in this world. And it wasn't even for superficial reasons. I was just under this impression that if I can get my mentality straight, then I'll be respected in those communities, but not for the reason that people would think oh, look at me. I just wanted to be fucking cool because there's this demeanor that wealthy people have, right? And I'm going to get to the spirituality aspect and how working with in demonology helped me detach. But you get to start to see the clientele in that area, and it's mixed. Half of the people in Utenville, California don't have money, and they're there oh, look at me, and then the other half have money. A very small portion of them who have money are just really there to try new nice things, right? There's a lot of olive oil tasting confectionery places. You can get 100-year-old aged balsamic vinegar and taste it for free. There's lots of wine tastings cheap. It's really cool. If you're a chef, it's really, Napa Valley is it. That's where my mind was. But then you get to see the majority of wealthy people in that mindset. And they're literally, when you get out of work or get out of service, you still got to look nice and pulled together. So when you go to your fucking car and go get out of Utenville and go on the freeway, you can light a fucking cigarette and be a normal person again. And then just let all the just dead end anxiety come out and you can just cuss your way home. That's really healthy, right? But my point is these types of people that you come across that like this shit, first of all, they don't even understand what they like. They don't. You can give them a fucking Ritz cracker and say it's the most rarest cracker from Romania, from the salt mines of Romania, and they would eat it. They'd be like, oh. And that's the type of shit I'm talking about. My glasses are fogging up because I'm fucking pissed. You get these people that go, oh, you're so busy cooking and dedicating your whole life so I can have a maybe memorable brunch. And it's just oh man, if you were in my neighborhood, I would skin you fucking alive and I would kick my foot up your ass so hard you would end up liking it, discovering a new kink. That's what I always want to say. But all I do is go, well, no, actually, ma'am, I really appreciate that. I don't appreciate it. but I'm here because I want to develop my skills. And that's how you set your boundary, because these people are so disconnected that they literally think of you as a peasant, and they think like, oh, how endearing. You're working so hard. So it's like, fuck you. That's what happens when you're attached to money and you have no constitution, no self-awareness, no skill sets. Because those people are useless without their money. And a lot of them are just married into money, to be honest. Like, a lot of it's just like, it's not even the dudes that own some tech company. Like, they're just there to shut their wives up. It's always these bitches that haven't even done anything. They didn't make the millions, and they're just like, oh, I'm so important. And I saw that shit, right, in the Matrix when I was detached spiritually at that point, like for half a decade, which was not like me. I grew up a very spiritual, my eye has always been open. I'm at least blessed for that. That I've gone through a lot of shit. I've been through a lot of shit. I at least had that since childhood. And that was like a wake-up call for me that I was still in denial about, because I'm just like, oh, it's just a couple people. I still need to do this. I'm all in. I can cook this food. And I was trained to do that. And I like the application of infinite knowledge because of escapism, right? That's why I'm so good at this. I'm not the best cook by any means, but I've stayed dedicated even after my career was done because I just really wanted to develop the skills. But in doing that, detaching from the restaurant industry and the universe saying, you're moving to Australia and you're not going to work like you think you are, because I was ready to hit the ground running, go here, go to New Zealand. I was going to do it all. I was like, finally, I'm at a place in my life where I can have some freedom to do these sorts of things. And it didn't happen. I got locked in here, right? And during that time, I'm like, I got to start homesteading and doing some content, some generic content. Some of it was really fun, just comedy and my experiences being here in Australia. Amazing people in this country. So fucking down to earth and cool. Like, really, really just hilarious country. People here love crazy humor. And they are hilarious. Every single person in this country is fucking hilarious. And they cuss like more than I do. So it was working in that sense, but I didn't want to do that. I couldn't find that. And my husband had tarot cards that he got from a video game called Dragon Age Inquisition. I haven't played the series and I always meant to, but other shit was out at that time. 2011 time and gaming was really good. But he had this deck of tarot cards, and there's noise in the background. Sorry. And he said, you can have these if you want. I think these are like playing cards. I don't know. And he knew that like I was into magic in the past and everything. And I was like, I'm just going to put these under my pillow. I cleansed them. I can feel they were just gunky. And I'm serious. That woke it up. And I still have that deck. I use it almost every day. And he didn't even know they were tarot cards. So people super clown on me on TikTok. Like, I've had people, people that are popular in the witchcraft community just slam on my damn gaming tarot cards, but they work. They're aligned with the energies of what the cards represent, and even the artwork makes sense from what he's told me. So even though I'm not connected to this deck because I haven't played the video game series, and in general, that would sound like a really cringy thing to do. Like, wearing a shirt for a video game when you've never cleared the series or anything like that, but you're, a poser. But I don't care. I'll be honest about it, because this deck right here awakened me again. After about 4 months, I just started to feel it. I felt it there the whole time, but it was like charging with my energy, and it was clearing, and I was like doing these things. I've always continued elements of magic when I wasn't in it. Like, I still cleansed, and I knew better. Like, it's like, even if you're not into fitness, you're gonna still eat, right? You have to still eat. So those things stayed with me, but this deck actually brought it back, and this is why we're here. And then fast forward, a couple years later, COVID happened and all this shit, right? So fast forward, during this time, I'm getting back into spirituality, and I'm starting to work with Infernals, as you guys know, because I've been like really open with experience. I'm getting back into witchcraft and divination, and now I'm really in a place in my life where I'm safe. I feel emotionally safe because my partner is not perfect, but he's amazing and beautiful and supports me, and not like in a like cucked out way. He's so conversational that we have to stay separated because we won't get shit. We'll talk all day. 6 hours we'll talk every day on his day. We look forward every day when he comes home so we can talk and have coffee. We both have negativity. Okay, we're both Rising and Sun Aquariuses. And I know that sounds shitty outside of the spiritual community. Like, you bitch, you're just using your sign as an excuse to be a freaking toxic asshole. No. There are idiosyncrasies to that. Maybe idiosyncrasies isn't the right word. Truth to that, but you still have to be self-aware and pivot it, you know? But anyways, the point is I felt safe enough to talk about that because demonology, the dark arts, I've always studied black magic. I've always done baneful work when I've needed to. But really deep diving into this, I felt like I wanted to. It's like, you know, people outside of this will be like, oh, the devil's just is seducing you. It's not even that. He teaches you to detach from that. It took me 10 fucking minutes to get to this point. I'll get better. Because the things that I wanted weren't Kardashian shit. I like nice clothes, but I like to have a simple wardrobe with really well-made shit if I can. I get everything thrifted and, you know, I find good shit. But, you know, I'm at that point in my life. I don't need 50 pairs of shoes anymore. I used to be that person. I had minimum 40 pairs of shoes forever because I just love a shoeaholic. And when I moved to Australia, I had to get rid of 90% of my things, and that was really hard, and I realized how attached I was at that point, because I had a closet full of clothes, shoes, I kept it all organized, I did consignment, I traded with other women, you know, because I wanted to look good. I didn't care about I liked designer shit, but I didn't care about the logos showing. I really, really thought, to an extent for younger people, it's cool, but I really wanted to have a very well-made suit, and I really wanted to have, like, nice loafers and nice shoes, and I like Alexander McQueen, old Alexander McQueen fashion, and especially you see those things in business now, and it was cool, right? Those are the things that I really wanted, to be able to afford those things for myself and to be able to invest into clubs that I wanted to participate for certain things. It was really skill building. But the Infernals, they show you in a very gracious way how attached you are, and they tell you can have those things, because this is me. I have a lot of potential. I've got humility. I'm willing to put in the work. I'm not coming from this place of desperation, because I know that's not right with, you know, the laws of the universe and the laws of attraction, which gets misconstrued so much, because you got to put in equal work to get that. They teach you. Belial, Azazel especially, Lucifer, I won't say so much. For Lucifer, it's really, he likes you to embrace things, but you also, there's a detachment there, but the lessons weren't core with Lucifer, it was with other Infernals, and they teach you it's a slow process. They start taking things away from you, they start making things inconvenient, and then you flip the fuck out, and it's like, how much of an internal tantrum am I throwing because my phone's not working? Because I'm like, I need it to film, and I need it to do this, and I don't have enough space, and I'm like throwing a tantrum, not taking it out on somebody, but just breaking down, you know, like in my own silence, and it's dumb. And then when I do express it to my husband, like, oh, this is, you know, I'm going on a loop, like every fucking thing I want to do, I give 3,000%, and it just doesn't work out. I'm fucking tired, and blah, 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 and what do I do? And I just, like, cry for help like a little girl, and he's, like, really patient, but he's also, like, just, you know, stop, it's okay, like, take a break. And I've had to learn with them, with Infernals, to stay silent, and I've become detached from this sort of stuff. Like, I'm not saying that it's not good to enjoy fine dining, like cuisine, or treat yourself once in a while, but understand why you're there. And my point is a lot of these places aren't designed so you can have those amazing experiences. They're designed for classism, and they're designed to make people feel like they're better than other people, because dinner at the French Laundry minimum will be about $700 to start out, not including anything else, not including wine, not including after dinner truffles and all these other extras they do, a la carte sort of shit. Is so manipulative too in fine dining. I've worked in kitchens where they have like an open dinner theater, and it's so annoying. And they just get all these rich people drunk out of their asses, and their original bill was supposed to be $400-500, which is still crazy for a meal. I understand the applications. It's a lot of work that people do to make that happen, but it's still fucking crazy. They will start boozing you up. They'll pour your wine without asking you if you want some, because you're under pressure. You gotta look good. You don't want to let people know, no, I can't, you know. I don't give a fuck about that. I'll say I'm cool with the glass, and you know, like I know all these classy rules, right? You put your hand over like you're done, you know? There's all kinds of shit that I learned in this industry. I might fucking um like I'm like Aladdin, you know. That's how I felt, like Aladdin, you know, you fucking street rat. And I sit here and I study all these rich people. Why are they doing it, and why? Some things make sense, some of it's psychology. A lot of the things that you do with body language, I've learned this shit, and that started to open that door for me too. I was like, man, a lot of this looks interesting from shit I've studied in the past. So the point of it being is they teach you really that this shit doesn't matter, that none of it matters. What matters is you need to disconnect from it, get to the core center of who you are and who you want to build up to be and why. And then you're going to be put through a lot of tests. And then when you think things are like, I'm all in, I'm doing everything right, that's a fucking hilarious mentality to have. Because I caught myself doing that. I'm like, I'm showing up for every single thing that they tell me to do. And then without being like, you know, punishing me for doing, you know, how like a lot of toxic people will do, like, well, you're the one who did that. They don't set you up for failure. They ask you, why are you so obedient? What is just inspect that. Is it because of approval? Is it coming out of fear? Is there any like layers of fear in there? That was a good psychotic simulator too, if you guys are into horror video games. I just thought of that. But there's all these like layers to our subconscious. There's these layers to who we are at our being, and they help you see that energetically and see all these little areas. You know, it's like we think there's just a lot of garbage, and we pick up the big things, like, okay, trauma, personal thing, vices, whatever, and it's like big chunks of trash, right? But they help you see all these little bitty peats that you're these little pieces of dust, and they like help you wipe them out and like scry them. It sounds crazy, but you figure out why. So I had to figure out, why am I so willing to go all in? You know what I mean? Like, why am I so willing? And it's because, for one, I was hungry for leadership. I was hungry for somebody to lead me. My entire life, I've been just dying for that and angry about that, because I've been in the type of person where I get shoved into the situation with extreme, everybody's falling apart and you got to deal with the death in the family, like umpteenth times, you know, like that sort of shit. I'm an only child too. I have a lot of these burdens, and I feel, just because of how the system's set up and everything else, like I just felt really alone. I felt like really trying to figure it out. And a lot of people, if you're an older millennial like myself, or like Gen X, a lot of the boomers, and especially silent generation, you know, younger silent generation, at least at the time when we were growing up, they didn't understand how hard we had it, because they thought, you guys have all this convenience and cheap toys and fast food. What are you bitching about? And it's like, we're raised by broken ass fucking people in a broken system that's teaching us to do nothing but sit in a goddamn cubicle all day and do nothing but take tests in school. And I was too fucking smart for that shit. And people wanted to convince me that I was dumb. Like, no, you've got ADHD. You need to be, you know, this, you're fucking this, you're that. You're never going to be anything in life. And I'm just like, fuck all you people. You're teaching out of fucking busted ass gang territory high school. What's that say about you? How the fuck are you going to tell me? That is who I was as a teenager. I went to like 11 or 10, almost 12 different schools. I don't know. It's like somewhere in between there. I moved like every 6 months to a year. I stayed in one spot for like a couple years. But everywhere else, I was like moving a lot. And every time you get thrown into this new emptiness or different situations in families, you know, moving around with different people, nobody knew what the fuck to do with me. And you feel like you are always, oh, fine, I'll do it. I'm the one that can fucking take care of it. I'll do it. And you get so used to that role that you not only feel entitled to dictate what other people think and feel, because it is, and you don't even, I went through that in my 20s and my 30s, because I had too much on my plate. I had way too much, and I had a lot of people who were not self-aware in my environment. I wasn't even self-aware, and I thought I was. They teach you that. They teach you didn't have your shit together like you thought you did. You only did because you were strong and resilient, and you were pushed into the fucking fire too many times. You were fucking drowning in it, and everybody told you, hey, can you light this fire a bit more because we're not warm enough? You know, that was literally it. You get burnt at the stake sometimes in life, and other people don't realize it, but then you do it to other people too without realizing it. And that's where the beauty comes in. They don't just teach you, in my experience, that everybody else is the problem. There are certain people in my past that were 100% the problem, and I have no accountability, and I don't give a fuck what happens to them. There are other people in my past that I have hurt equally as they hurt me, or more so. I have hurt more so, but I hyper-focused on their flaws and vices and stuff. They teach you to reflect on that. And they teach you to detach from the shit that you're escaping that from. And my career is what I was escaping it, and that's why it wasn't working out. It wasn't because of my work ethic. It wasn't because I can't run circles backwards and fucking inside out around anybody. Because I have this chip on my shoulder when somebody tells me, you're a chick, you should go home and cook, because it is. It's a very sexist industry. I thought that it wasn't going to be because I don't like abusing my power as being a woman. I can easily say somebody SA'd me and get them fired. That is sick and manipulative. And I've seen women be able to grope themselves onto men and hang on them and goof off, and grown men in the kitchens when we're trying to do some prep going like, I'm married and I don't feel cool with that. And them getting like, oh, what the fuck's your problem? On the flip side, there are a lot of chauvinistic men, but it's not the majority of cooks. There are old school, like, Baisa dudes, like country dudes that tell you you need to be home cooking. I heard that in school. I heard that in culinary school. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, fucking viejo, why don't you go home? Your fucking hips are cracking. You know, I would talk back to these people. And then you get people that tell you you're too loud. You need to be quiet. Like, a lot of men want women quiet. And I'm not a quiet woman unless it's an appropriate place for me to just shut the fuck up. But the point of this is they teach you you're escaping all of this shit that you're not only contributing to, but allowing yourself to be in that situation with your career. And as a result, it's backfiring because you're dealing with like a lot of toxic people, even some more so to some extent. There's some scary motherfuckers in the restaurant industry, for real. That industry alone is not meant for people, like, it's not like Food Network where you're just like, it's very hard and it sucks. I'm going to probably talk about it a lot. But with my spiritual path and working, you know, with the underworld and working with Infernals, they teach you how limiting you are. Like, I was just being a cuck to the system in that way without realizing it, and I was gift wrapping that with my own personal pride. And because, oh, fuck that, I'm a hard worker, I gotta earn this title, I gotta do this. I put in the hard work, I'm glad that I did, but I'm glad that I got out before I broke, because I've seen there's that 1,000-yard stare. A lot of chefs that, if you're in there for longer than like 10, 15 years, you can't. They're dead-eyed. And I saw that too much and I couldn't do it. And Azazel will teach you that very silently. He's a very silent disciplinarian in my path. And he pops up when I really, really, really feel like giving up, and he knows I'm already giving 4,000%. And it's not out of ego. It's just you are limiting yourself. Just because you're giving 4,000%, you're comparing your journey with somebody else. Somebody else can do fucking a lot better at you at 100%. So you're not better, you know? And it's like, I don't try to say that I think I'm better than everybody. I would get angry because nobody else was doing what it needs to do, to what it takes. And then I felt that. So that's what they taught me, why I was so attached to things, because I was running away from myself in that area. And I wasn't applying discipline in the areas of my life that I needed, like on, you know, the external and the things I'm doing. And I'm going to talk about it at times. It's not to brag. It's just I show up every fucking day and I'm in pain and I don't make excuses anymore. And when I do, but I do give myself space to fall apart. And they teach you that's okay. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be a soldier all goddamn day. You don't need to suck in your tears all the time. What you need to do is, you can't do it during battle, but you can afterwards. You can give yourself some space and fall apart, and they've always been there. I've always felt that comfort. It's this actual loving energy. It's the same feeling when the person you love the most gives you the deepest hug because they know you need it. Sometimes my husband just comes out and he knows I'm struggling. I struggle. I don't have my shit together. I can cry right now. That's how much pain I hold, because I have all of this weight on my shoulders and I'm trying to sort it all out. And I have, the world right now is really aligned with inflicting that motivation because it's just getting crazy out there. I just saw a thing this morning where here in Brisbane, in the city, there was a community with the graces of Aboriginal First Nations, like elders that lived on that land. You know, it wasn't like it was a public park or something, but nobody used it. It was like not in the way of anything. And this whole community made a very beautiful, small, like reasonably small, like community garden. That's it. Nothing crazy. Not like destroying anything. The government and the police came and bulldozed everything and like had diggers digging the garden out of the ground and made more of a mess than it originally was when they made the garden. And then they salted the earth. And that's like, and I home garden and I have failures because the bees are all killed off here and like all it's so many things that I have to find by, you know, TikTok does help with that. I limit social media, but I at least get to see that shit. I don't give a fuck about all this other shit. I just want to see what people are going through so we know the truth, because we're not being told the truth right now in any light. And it's becoming more and more apparent. So when you start to detach, it's like the best thing that can happen to you, as long as you don't detach so much that you think you're self-righteous for it. You find balance. So I'm very grateful for my path working with demons, because I've learned, and I'm learning in other areas, detachment. I've got more discipline with eating these days. As a, you know, chef who loves to cook, I cook a lot at home. My husband and I, it's really fucking sick, guys. It's sick in the head. We will sit there and I'll be a bit stoned. We're all tired from we were very busy people and we work hard for our family. We have an urban homestead, and I'm just like, man, I got the best idea for a cheesecake right now. And he's like, oh yeah, we can do a matcha, you know, cheesecake, and we can do like a hibiki whiskey caramel and all this shit, right? And I'm just like hibiki's like a floral Japanese, whiskey. And we'll sit there and just come up with all of this stuff. Like we're growing rosellas, which you make Jamaica, for those of you who are familiar with. Here in Australia, rosellas are a hibiscus sort of flower. I'll have to post some stuff on Insta for you guys. I've got a good harvest going, and you can make gel, you can make you can make teas out of it, you know. And we're just like, oh, we should make some rosella jelly-filled donuts and have, you know, like the best fucking custard anglaise on top with vanilla bean. We can do this. It's so sick, because it's like having too much power. It is. My husband's he's like a legit pastry chef, and he's a former butcher too and went to culinary school. It is so gross to have a partner with food when you love to eat and you struggle with food. You guys can just throw all these ideas to each other. But now I have such a discipline that I detach, and I've always detached like this, but I've also been like, oh, that sounds bomb, I want some. Is I can do my art and my job and not like want to go and eat like 4 or 5 of them, you know, because you will, and that's the truth. And you justify it, like, I'm on my feet all day, I can do this. And now I've detached from that, and I realized that I had an attachment to food, and I always did, but I didn't think that it was in that way. I just thought I liked to eat, and I just needed to just stop eating so much like white flour is my thing. I love pastries, man. I don't care about like fast food. I like burgers and stuff, but French fries, if you told me if like, oh, you have something wrong, you can never eat another fried food, I wouldn't go, okay, cool. But pastries, like, I love delicious pastries and eclairs and yummy things, and knowing how to make them is great. So anyways, it's great to detach from it. But that wasn't even the core attachment. It was mostly about why I felt the need to be the best for myself. It wasn't coming from a place of understanding my potential. It was partially that, but it was coming from a place of needing validation because I fucking didn't get hugged enough or something, you know? I needed to confront that and go, okay, I got to clear my head from this. I understand, because it sucked not getting back into the industry. I was like, I'm ready. I'm foaming at the mouth for this. So I just apply it to myself, and I've done that for the past fucking 6 years here. And I've gardened, and I know more about food than I ever did working or staging at any of those places I learned in culinary school. I can hang. I don't want to hang, though. I don't want to go back to that industry. I don't want to support that. I felt unhappy cooking for that sort of clientele. And even on a casual standpoint, like just in Sacramento, those people that still go to casual dining, they still think that they're those people. They still want to be like that. They still act like that. They treat people like shit. We're in this fucking weird area in society where we think the more you have, the less you treat people that don't have as much as you. And it's simply because of attachment. It's simply because those people subconsciously understand they have nothing without that. And I wish people understood that about like these oligarchs running the world. Calling them elites, that's a compliment. They're not elite at anything other than just being psychopaths. That's it. They just had enough money to hire people to do all that shit. They're weak. Any one of them in a room with you, they're going to be pissing their pants with any one of you. I don't care if you have a disability where it limits you to, your mobility and walking, I mean that with all due respect, they would be afraid. They would be, because if they don't have their little shiny button and their money and their assassins and their this and their laws and they're fucking nothing. That's why that's equivalent exchange. They have, this is what I've come up with, and I don't even know how to break this down, but I'm learning about all this shit. They have rigged the system to a way where the momentum between point A and point B lands on us as the sacrifice. And it's not in this fucking Facebook boomer mentality that people, and look, it's good that people are thinking. I'm glad people are thinking. I understand why people think that the devil's getting involved and doing all this shit. It's not. It's Yahweh. They've just done it. They've done it so fucking well. There's black cubes all over the world. There's fucking obelisks all over in different points. The Vatican and Washington, D.C. and fucking London are not, they're districts outside of the jurisdiction of the Geneva Convention. Like, they are not fucking actual countries. No one knows that. No one fucking knows that. And that drives me crazy. It's like, you people need to wake the fuck up. There's an obelisk right outside in Washington, D.C., and all of the measurements equal to 6. All of them. And it's not because 6 is a bad number and the devil number, because it's a powerful fucking number. And they have manipulated it and sold us this idea that things are evil when they're not. They're tapping into it. They're telling us, don't you drink wine, while they're fucking drinking the blood of their fucking children. I'm not saying that that's exactly what they're doing, but don't tell me that there isn't fucking deep, dark things going on like that for that. It's not in a glamorized way that people think, but these people are absolutely using these structures for their own benefit, for psychology. They know something. They have this information. And there are too many people like you and I who are coming out of the woodwork going, no, this something smells a bit off here. I smell like the sweet decay of death, and I want to investigate. And that's where we are. I'm not special. I'm not fucking some chosen one that the demons are like, you gotta say or Satan ways. I don't care, and they don't care. What I care about is I don't want to be told that I can't do something but in my heart I know that I can, so you silently work on it. You don't need to be loud and obnoxious. You silently work on that. And the reason why I share all these experiences isn't because I need something. I don't need to tell people. The greatest things in my life that I've accomplished is literally just being fucking the best version of myself today, because I have responsibilities to my kids and I don't want to burden them any more than I already have, because we have to deal on the sins of our fathers, and their burdens that they didn't ask for. And we don't realize that because we get stuck in our own cycle, right? But what happens to unhealed people, and this isn't to give people empathy or a free pass, because you can fucking super go get fucked with that, is those people who treat people as lesser, they know that they're lesser. And it's easier. It's like, okay, well, they got money. No, they really do. Because if you take away their freaking black card, their debit card, whatever they have, what do they have? What do you have without your money? You can't buy growth. You cannot buy growth. And they made me realize, okay, yeah, I do require money for my lifestyle, but it's not about this shit. I just want to be able to have a facility so my kids can train in martial arts. Right now, we just train at home. It's free. It's fucking free. We watch YouTube videos. They don't have a club. It's all taken because the economy's shit. They have elite people training them, man, and they don't want to give it up. And they tell me, they're like, I don't want to give this up. So I tell you, so then detach for all the shit that's distracting you. And don't do it to an extreme. Give yourself, I have a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old. Give yourself the weekends and just 5 days a week, show up. And they do. And that's healthy. For me, I might do it 7. I go, you don't got to do it. But I'm telling you, they do. They're working out on the weekends now. And I'm like, you guys can sleep in. We always tell my husband and I every weekend, you guys go, Mimi, go sleep in. You go, we have it. They help so much. They try so hard to help us. They're out there training right now so I can do this podcast for you guys. And when I'm done with this, I've got my gym clothes in here, and I'm gonna go do the same thing, and then we're all gonna have our supers. But I gotta show up for them, and they teach you that. They teach you it's not about you, it's not about ego. My kids do not care if I ever cooked in those places. They don't care about that. What they care is that I spend quality time with them, and I'm teaching my daughter about herbalism, and we talk about magic, and they have their own spirituality, and we're here and we have time. So we give ourselves purpose. This podcast gives me purpose. The Kitchen Occultist has given me purpose for the past 2 years. It's helped me expand. I've learned a lot about myself. I've made really great connections with other practitioners. And you know what's also fucking amazing? Is I see everybody else evolving. Like literally in their content. Not because, oh, we got to do it. We got to stay up with it. Because they're evolving. Their craft is evolving. They are as people. There's other people that share their stories online in this sort of community. And I'm like, these motherfuckers are leveling up. They're going to become monsters. Fuck yeah. Let's do it. That's where I am. That is me. And I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to say that I'm right. I'm not going to say that I'm where I want to be. I'm not. I'm probably never going to be where I want to be because there's no finish line to this. The point is for us to expand and be aligned and feel fulfilled and nourished. It's not all this other shit. Like we have been just thrown into the fucking pit of wolves. Seriously. Pit of rattlesnakes, really. Like piranhas, any of them, all of them. Because most mental health issues are a reflex of this. But we'll sit there and shit on each other for it. Oh, yeah, you got depression. I had always thought, and I will say I was part of this, but not like to a dickhead level. I've gone through, seasonal depression and circumstance, lost a job, whatever, these sort of things. Things happen, and okay, I'm depressed, I'm going to get through it, and you carry on. But then when I had postpartum depression, I've had it all figured out. The doctor told me you were at high risk for psychosis, you had family death and a divorce, and you moved overseas, and you're broke as fuck, and all these things are going wrong in your life. I had everything that a person can go, you were disowned, everything. Seriously. I did a checklist when I was pregnant with my son in 2018, and like all but 2, like loss of a child and miscarriage within the past 24 months, I checked off on that list. They had to have like the head psychiatrist come in and say, we need to get you into therapy, like literally. And I was like, well, I'm already taking all my supplements, and I was in the middle of weight loss then, and I ended up gaining it back and stuff. I'm going to the gym, 5-6 days a week. I'm doing good. I take it easy. I exercise. I was like, cool. I got to go to therapy. I'm in a beautiful, blessed country where I have free fucking mental health stuff. And if I need more, there's funding for more. I'll do whatever you guys say. I'm not gonna abuse that. I'm gonna do everything you say. Do you think that helped me not get psychosis? No, I still got very sick. I know I'm reiterating myself, and I talk about it a lot, but it's such a huge point in my life that cracked me open. I hit my rock bottom, and no one else came to save me, and the devil was there. And like I said in my last video, he told me I was on my face on the floor, and the floor is the mirror, and it's cracked, and he tells you, I need you to get up, and that's what they do. They don't do it in this. Maybe some people, and sometimes you do need like a kick in the ass and to be like humbled a bit if you struggle with arrogance. I know sure as hell in my 20s I would have. I really would have had a lot more. I caused so many of my own problems because I was stuck in my own cage. And then when you detach from people that hurt you and your failures and then you hurting people, or the guilt you might hold because you hurt somebody, but you weren't hurting anybody by putting yourself first. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people that I knew outside of my primary environment didn't like the fact that I was moving. Nobody like really talked to me. There was a couple people, we all had our own shit though, and COVID happened. I lost a lot of friends and everybody in my family and moving overseas, and a lot of it in that sense was not me, but a lot of it also was how I handle myself, how I react. I am a very blunt person, and when people are feeling bad about themselves and they try to shit on me, I tell them that's your fucking problem. Don't be putting me down because you feel insecure about me leaving. That's how I am. And now I have more graces where I don't need to say that. I don't need to think about it. I can just take care of my business, and if there is anything that I need to do, and even including spell work, because I did post a couple baneful things that I've done, but that's how I operate now. They've really taught me to detach from those situations, from an argument. There's times in growth, and I have permission to share this. My husband says, share whatever you want about us and me, as long as you feel comfortable, where we've had our struggles and we've been arguing and it gets heated. And when I started growing, all I saw was the wounded person. And the only reason why I put effort into him is because he stepped up. And we're both evolving now. We're both in our spiritual paths. We both focus on our health and focus on, all this. We'll focus on family. We've always been, he's amazing, Dad. Oh, fucking amazing. But, we had our own struggles and demons, right? Our own demons. That's the thing too. We have our own personal shit. And everybody always talks about that too. Like, well, you got your personal demons and it's the devil in you. It's like, you know what? Then fucking do what they did and train those demons to be your brigade. Because if you got them and they're there and they're giving you that energy, then then fortify yourself. Because that's all you got. And this world is fucking sick. It's a sick world. We're not as comfortable as we think we are. And it's not to be a scare tactic. It's kind of like a wake-up call. We really are needing to evolve more. And we are. And I am. And I have other shit that I like to do besides this. I like to just relax. I like to hang out with my kids and play board games. There's all these things that I do. I have lots of hobbies. But I have focus and structure now because of working with fallen angels. And I refuse to give that up. I fucking refuse. And the attachment to that isn't the same sort of attachment as I had to my career or to food or to shopping or to all this bullshit. It really wasn't. I was so, and you know what the thing is because I did things a little bit better, I still fucking shit on everybody else. I shit on everybody else. I was like fucking, talking about, well, I eat cleaner. I was still fucking obese. But I eat cleaner, but I don't eat that because I'm not on medications and I'm not on that and I'm not on this and I don't have to do this because these people aren't getting it together. Once you come from anger, especially when you deal with addiction, you get angry about it. And I was exhausting all of my energy. You guys got to think energetically too for those of you who might not get it. I know a lot of you the people who are watching this know more than I do. But in terms of just the kitchen occultist in general, there's half of my audience is people that know way fucking more than I do. And the other half is people who are like, I'm super new to everything, but how do I hex my parents because they won't let me know that kind of shit? And it's like, no, we're not going to use the devil to hex your parents because you can't get a new Pokemon or whatever. We can't have that mentality because they're going to give you the Pokemon, but then your parents are going to be fucked and it's going to be your lesson. See, you like that Pokemon. The devil will work in those ways if you don't listen to him. I don't see how that's evil or conniving or manipulative. Everything, like Lucifer is very contractual in my experience, and I don't like making contracts unless I absolutely know what I'm doing. Belial it's more verbal contract these days. I still do rituals. I still do I do that, I don't like to live off the thing, well, they say that my progress is enough, because sometimes they do say that. I show up and I light their candles. We light their candles every day, and I do all these little things, and sometimes I make promises, and I'm like, oh, I'll get you something new, and then I'm like, oh, I forgot to get that. There's never really a problem with that. But with bigger things, with Lucifer, it is contractual. I will be completely honest. I would not want to make a contract with Lucifer and then not take it serious. I really believe that if you do slip up, but it's genuine, like, hey, I was really so focused on fixing this that I didn't get to this. I don't think that there's any, I can't speak on behalf for everybody, but I don't think that there's any, like, severe consequences. I've just had my experiences have been very fair. And the experiences that have been very hard, I know that it's shit that I can survive as long as I just align. It's not like any life-threatening thing or, yes, that can happen to people. People need wake-up calls. But why is it safe when God does it? Why is it like glorified if God gives somebody an illness and they had to learn a lesson? But when the devil does it and he's like, hey, if you keep doing this, you're end up going to get sick. And you're like, no, I just want money for booze. Okay. And then you end up fucking up your life and then hitting rock bottom, and you either don't make it, like a lot of people I knew, like everybody that I knew personally didn't make it, and that's a wake-up call for me. For someone with chronic pain, it's like, fuck, man, I'm susceptible to the same shit. Or you learn your lesson the harder way, and you have to understand that even if you don't have to learn your lesson the hardest way, those times are coming in life. We're all gonna die. And it's going to affect people. I'm not afraid to die. I am not. I will say this one thing. I have to teach my kids to understand death. And I do. That's it. And I'm probably at that age, you get to middle age, you start thinking about that. Your kids are adults. You're like, fuck, shit's moving too fast. I've got a toddler and a preschooler as well. I'm like, fuck, it's just us. So if anything, like all of these complex anxieties, but you don't sit there and just dwell on them and cry. Then get the fuck up and do something so you can leave a legacy for your goddamn kids. And I'm not just talking about a fiscal one. That's great if you can. We're in a system where it seems impossible. A lot of us are running backwards in quicksand. Like, and they're telling us if you keep doing that, you'll get there. That's not it. You have to stand still and clear your head and detach, and that's what I've learned. And it's been so hard for me because I have thought, well, I'm not greedy. I don't care. I didn't go raiding the toilet paper when COVID happened. I locked the fuck down and did the bare minimum in terms of convenience and just fucking powered through. I was fine. I'm fine with that. You can take that shit from me. But I wasn't, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I probably would have, been fucking a lot worse off. Like, well, I can't have my Starbucks. And I was still pretty resilient in my earlier adulthood, but I was so hooked into this shit. And leaving California was the best thing that can happen to me, and it sucks because I really, really do get homesick. I get homesick for the cultural aspects. I get homesick just feeling like myself. Like, when you're an expat, pretty much though, you're the token American person, or if people think that you're from California, they're like totally expecting you to talk like this. I went to a hospital. I'm just going to say this. I got off the antipsychotics cold turkey because the doctors didn't want me to, and they're making me worse, and I was really in a bad place with psychosis, right? So I fucking said, fuck it, I'm going to cold turkey the Seroquel. I end up with pancreatitis, and I was hospitalized for over a week. And it was cool. I just had a fast, and it was all right. However, there was this nurse there when I first went to the ER, and she was telling, I don't care what people do, so I feel stupid like talking about this shit, but, excuse me, she was telling everybody, I'm from California. Oh my God. Yeah. Like, I'm totally from California. That's where my accent's coming from. Oh my God. And I was just like, for fuck's sakes, this bitch probably moved to like LA from the Midwest like 5 years ago and started watching the Kardashians. Nobody talks like that, So when she came to me, she's like, where are you from? I know you're from America. And I'm like, I'm from California. And she was like, oh my God, Bible? Like the Kardashians say. And I'm like, what the fuck says that? And I'm like, chill the fuck up. Pump your brakes, man. Seriously, roll a fucking doob and just zoot out. Like, fuck, you want to be Californian? You want to be really Californian? Just stay inside. Just stay indoors. There's California for you. Stay indoors and just lull yourself to sleep by the fucking police sirens and the gunshots from March and November, because that's like the high crime rates where I come from. There you go. Just hibernate during those times. And just be cynical and be full of yourself. Such shit. I can't even go on. I'm running out of shit to say and entertain. But that was the point of it. Like, people expect you to be like that. And I have noticed that Americans that I have crossed paths with here, not all, there's some that are really, really cool, but they are just like, American, and I'm just like, I'm not proud about being an American. I'm not. I'm proud to be a human being, but I'm not proud about the divided states of AmeriCorp. We have a very broken system. I am proud to defend, my freedoms and my rights, whether here or there, you know what I mean? Like, it's easier said than done. I don't want to be in that situation. However, I am disappointed. I'm not going to sit here and have false pride to make everybody feel, no. My neighbors were all assholes. Nobody fucking helped me out when nobody did. Nobody does. No one fucking does. There is a sense of community when you do live in impoverished areas, though, like, for real. I will say that's a thing that you kind of do miss, but in general, like, our normal life, I'm not in the hood now. I live in a nice cozy house, and it's a little cookie cutter house, and it's made out of paper mache, but it looks nice, right? Oh, fuck. All around all these other people. I've been here for fucking over 5 years. I don't know anybody. And I go outside and I say, I don't give a fuck. Like, people will be like, oh, hi, how you doing? I'm just like, hey, what's up? I'm cool. Everybody's in their own world. So I'm not, and in America, everybody was assholes just like me. I'm not proud. What do I need to be proud about? What do I need to do? I'm not the face that America wants. The bisexual, biracial, fucking satanic witch raised by fucking crazy people. And you had all this mess because they were victims of the system. And now I'm like, well, what the fuck do I do with all this? That's me. That's what the American dream is. You know what the American dream is being told you can do anything you want to as long as you work hard and you burn yourself up and you have fucking nothing. You have nothing in the end of it. And you go, oh shit, I'm in my 30s. I'm either locked in from student loans, or I'm fucking broke as fuck, or I'm locked in because in order for my career to progress, I'm going to have to get another student loan, and I'm going to have to because I'm in these fucking shackles. That's the American dream. They sell you this idea, but what do Americans look like? Oh, all a bunch of nice, happy white people having it together and just, just super fun. That's not how it is. But everybody wants to be, not everybody, but in general, a lot of people think that's what they want. And now it's like the Kardashians. That is it. I don't like the Kardashians. I used to not trip. I used to like to watch the Chisme shows a little bit, and like clips would come on, and I'll be like, oh, what are they saying? I used to like to watch the Kardashians, like those in that sort of sense. And I liked some of the fashion and like some of the bags because I liked designer things, but the fucking people are stupid. And their problems are so stupid. It's like, well, where are we going to have this dinner party? It's like, holy fuck, these people are in the Matrix too. They're in their own Matrix. They're even worse. They're even weakened down. So imagine, like think of the Kardashians. They wouldn't be able to survive a fucking apocalypse. You really think that they would? They wouldn't be able to do it. All these people in Hollywood, even people I really liked during COVID, were like, kumbaya. Oh, they're singing fucking Imagine by John Lennon and they're stuck in their mansions, like Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman. And I really loved her. I told my husband, if that's your waifu, I will fucking marry her too. Like, was perfect. Wonder Woman wasn't overly sexualized. She was so graceful. They didn't do that sort of thing. And it's okay if women are sexualized, but you know how it is. Sometimes it's like a lot, and it's like, come on. Everything was perfect. She's like this beautiful Israeli woman, and she's tall, and she's an Amazonian, right? Like, and she that's what Wonder Woman's supposed to be. She's supposed to be fucking Amazonian. I didn't get to see anything after that. I saw the first one, but I was like, man, she is so cool. I loved her. I was like, she's so beautiful and so cool. And I felt like, just like a young girl again. And it's so stupid. But I see a lot, the other chick that played Captain Marvel, if you guys remember, she was all up her own ass. She's like, well, I'm going to fucking come in and show the men how it's done. And she's like faking her workouts and shit. And it's like, go fuck off. We don't need that. But anyways, with Gal Gadot, during COVID, she's singing fucking Imagine All the People in her mansion, feeling like, we're here with you. Her and Will Ferrell, they're like, we're struggling too. It's like, if I had a mansion, I would be shutting the fuck up. I wouldn't be complaining at all if I had a mansion with a tennis court and a movie theater and a home gym and all my people still out to go run my errands because they are important workers. They are, what was the term that they used? It's off the top of my head. Essential workers. My assistant to go get my stuff, my Starbucks is my essential worker. I need that. It's such bullshit. Yet these pieces of shit, they're so disconnected and dumb too, they don't realize it. And we will sit there and go, oh, wow, we can be like that too. So it's detachment. And there's a liberty to that. When you become so detached, you don't have to run away from money. Fuck that. I don't need money. I want to continue to acquire more money into my life because you get your money straight, get your shit straight. You know what I mean? It's not about all the other bullshit. I have no desire. I gotta buy a Maserati. I don't care. You know what I want? I want a utility truck so I can be able to get resources to my fucking property. That's what I want. And I want to be able to build my dream shooting range. I already got the things that I want to get. I want to get a Mossberg 509A1 because it's ambidextrous and I don't have a lot of shotgun experience, right? And I like shooting, and now that my mental health is good, I can start going to the range again here. Because there are limitations here. I know Americans won't like it because it's very limited, but there are good criteria here in Australia in that sense. I'll just say with marksmanship, it's like you have to have mental health clearance and you have to have X amount of hours at the range per month. But, for that sort of things. Just an off topic. Those are the things that inspire me. Because the world is crazy as fuck right now. And all I can think about is I just want to keep showing up because I feel good. I feel energetic. And it's freaking me out. Because you're told, oh, once you hit 40, it's all going downhill from there. I don't listen to people who say, I'm sorry, I don't care if I love you with all my heart. If you start preaching that shit to me, I ain't listening. I am not listening because I get out of bed very early now. I jump around with my kids. I'm not out of breath. I ain't going to stop that. I do a lot of things to maintain. Like, there's realities of getting older. My joints are like fucking just rigor mortis. My knees are just like, and I do like side kicks. My kids having me do drills, right? And my hips get very clicky, like doing side kicks. So I take like marine collagen and I make herbal supplements and you just do it and do one at a time. And if it works, after a few weeks, add something else. And that's all it's been. It's been little by little adding new shit so I can maintain. Because for me, it's not about, I need the marine collagen because I have wrinkles. I finally have signs of aging in my late 30s. it's great. I have all, and I'm not saying I want to age too quickly, but I am okay with that. I do the other things because I'm like, man, I have too much energy into me. I've got too much. So I found something, an outlet, and I'm building and I'm building and I'm building. So now all of this other shit I don't care about anymore. I really don't. And I'm not saying that we should have the mentality of not having that fortitude. Belial really, I talked about briefly that he likes hustle culture. And it was confronting for me because sometimes when demons that you're close to, that have a disagreement with something, you got to remember to not humanize them. And I've never tried to humanize them in a superficial sense. Sometimes they'll sort of humanize themselves energetically so you can align your energy and tune into theirs, but also it's easier. Sometimes it's like when you're not in the same cadence, but I have small children. I'm not going to talk to them like I talk to you guys. I squat down so they're at eye level, so I'm not intimidating. And I explain really kindly, or if they're doing something and my little one's like, Mommy, look at my pirate hat. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so cool, And it's not that they're doing that, but they are detached they're expanded from things that bother us, even the sinister things, even the really, really, really tough things. And I've had to learn that. But anyways, I hope that I'm improving with my conversational skills because I do tend to ramble. But this book, the French Laundry Cookbook, the other day when my 4-year-old was looking through it, and I was showing him all the pictures and I was showing him all the things and all the different. It's very inspiring, that part of the industry. Like, this restaurant has a garden, and this chef has a mushroom forager and knows exactly what cows the milk's coming from. That's cool as a chef, but the reason for it, maybe his not reason, but it's the reason for it. For a certain type of clientele and a certain type of mentality, it loses its soul. So you have these people eating food that's luxurious because the craftsmanship. If you have a very good ingredient, like the best turnip you can grow, you don't need anything else. Then if you add that with applications like, putting it through a fine sieve like 4 or 5 times, like Thomas Keller does in his restaurants, they strain things multiple times so it's so silky smooth. It makes a difference. But if the only reason you're enjoying some sort of seared halibut with an almond crust and a turnip puree and all this other stuff, microgreens, if the only reason why you're enjoying that is because of where you are and who made it and why and the price, these people keep searching for it. And I'm telling you, I saw it so much. I saw it. You don't talk to people like all day long. And it's not like I was in Napa Valley every single day or anything. I've just been in the area. I have also networked as a blogger. I was a blogger during the time to all this stuff for like almost 10 years. So I would network with people and go to different businesses and wineries and stuff. And I hustled. That's what I did when I was in my 20s because I didn't want to have my kids grow up like I did. So I was like, I'm just going to be the smartest version of myself because I am. I'm pretty smart. And I just got to fucking apply myself and I got to stay out of trouble. And I did. I didn't get into trouble as an adult. But I was grounded and I had to be focused. But I also was running away from that. I think that the biggest lesson for me is I was trying so hard to get away from what I was supposed to be. Because I wasn't, just given my circumstances and how my mentality and the weaknesses that I had, I was not supposed to. I was told you're not going to do much. I was told that a lot. I'm not even just saying in environmental, teachers, because you piss teachers off and stuff. But I never let that get to me. But it didn't get to me so much that it got to me that I was like, fine, motherfucker, I'm gonna get in your head. I'm gonna be the best I can. I'm gonna fucking just rip that from you. You are not gonna take that from me. And that mentality is good, but it also it's you running away from yourself long term. So you have to find balance, and demons have taught me how to find balance with having resilience. I hear my children coming back. So I think that I will try to conclude with that. I'm happy to share this wisdom with you because I wouldn't have it if it weren't for them. They've taught me all this. They helped me when I couldn't find help from anybody else. And when I couldn't help myself at certain times. And they've told you Yeah, you can. So I'll see you guys next episode. Thank you for tuning in.